Hey, what's up, guys? First and foremost, I want to say thank you for purchasing this film burn or film pack. I don't even know what I'm going to title this at this point. But this is going to be the tutorial to show you guys how to implement and use the burns and also the mats and show you how to set up your timeline so the sizing of certain mats work specifically for your programs. Now, I'm going to do this in Final Cut Pro, and I'm also going to do this in Premiere. I'm going to run through Final Cut Pro 10 first. But if you're on Premiere, just go to the timestamp on the screen. All right, so the first thing that we're going to run through is the film burns, and then we're going to go through the Cinema 4K mats and also the 4x5 mats as well. Now, this current timeline that I'm on right now is a Cinema 4K timeline. If you're on an Ultra HD timeline, which is, my bad, it's a cop car outside. If you're on a Cinema 4K timeline, which is a 3840 by 2160, everything works the same. It's basically you just scaling it to make sense and work with the timeline that you're on. All right, so the first thing I want to go through is the burns. Go ahead and import the burns and also the mats, the Cinema 4K ones and the 4x5 ones into your program so you can see everything. So these are the burns right here. You see it's a bunch of different ones to choose from. I'm going to show you how you can format these and kind of switch them up depending on what you're using them for. In my timeline, I just got some regular lifestyle clips right here from a project that I did for YouTube. And then I also have music video clips here as well. I'm going to show you which combinations tend to work the best. So for starters, with the film burns, one thing that I like to do when I'm, looking at the film burns in the program is I like to just, kind of hover over them and see where the brightest spot would be, because where the brightest spot is where it's going to look best for a transition. And then once I find that spot, I like to just drop a marker right there. So what I'm going to do is, you see this spot right here? This is super bright. So if you put this in between two clips, it's going to transition the best. So I'll just like to scrub through, find that point, and then just go ahead and hit the M key. And what that'll do is it'll drop a marker. So then when it's time for me to go ahead and bring this into the timeline, I can just place this marker between these two clips, and then it'll transition perfectly. Now, once you go ahead and, choose the burn and the marker space that you like, drop it into the timeline where you want it to be, click on it, and then we're going to go up to the blend mode up here at the top right. Switch this over to screen. Screen is just like, your typical one. Play that through. Perfect. Like that bright spot right there was perfect for that transition. And you can see for me, when I drop in my film burns and I get my transition through, I like to, size down the film burn because I don't need it to go for its full length. If I leave it for its full length, there's nothing wrong with that, but I just find it to kind of be distracting personally. Feel free to do whatever you want. Like I don't need it to do all that. I just need, once we got that transition out the way, we good. I'm gonna chop mine down like that. All right. So play that back through again. And I'll chop it down to where it needs to be. Play that through again. Boom, got my transition out the way. Perfect. Now it's a bunch of different, customizations and things that you can do to your film burn. For starters, you can mess around with blend modes because there's a bunch of other blend modes other than screen that work really well, depending on the project that you're doing. The ones that I find that work the best are screen, color dodge, and also difference. Those are the ones that I stick to. So if I try color dodge, it'll give you an entirely different vibe for the transition. You can see, like that's totally different right there. Or if I want to go over to difference gives you a way different vibe. I find this one to look the best with music videos. Like that looks dope. Like that would be a really cool transition for a music video. So play around with the blend mode, get the one that you like. Screen is just gonna basically reflect the light from the film burn and put it over your clip and basically cut out that extra black. But it's also other ones that you can mess around with to give you different effects and stylized looks for your thing, for your film burn. Now, another thing that you can do to kind of customize your film burn and make it work perfectly for whatever sequence you're using it for is you can adjust the color of it. So if you click on your film burn and then we go up to color corrections, we can add in the color wheels. And then from here, we can adjust the temperature to shift this entire color to something else. So say we wanted something that's more of an orange hue, we can, move our temperature slider over to find that. Or what we can do is we can adjust this hue adjustment right here. So if I bring this over to more of an orange tone, you can see it changes that entire hue of the film burn, and it works perfectly for these clips. These clips are warmer, so I would probably want like a warmer color for it. So if I play that through, it's no longer pink. Now it's orange, and it works perfectly with the project that I'm doing for it. All right, so that's basically how you use the film burns. Go through, choose the one you want, and you can basically just change that to screen, and you can customize it and make it exactly what you want. Like I said, I like to scrub through and find like the brightest parts in them. And then I just go ahead and I drop in a marker at that brightest spot because I know that's going to be perfect for a transition piece or a transition spot in the clip. So right there, you can see that spot right there is super bright. So I'm going to drop in a marker right there, bring that into my project and drop that where two clips will transition. And then change that blended mode over to screen. Then if we play that through, got the perfect transition. Now, I think that's a lot longer than I would like it to be, so I would just trim that down. And if we play that through now, perfect. Goes straight through, exactly how I need it to be. Transition out the way. Like I said, feel free to experiment with different blending modes. Like a color dodge, you can see will give you an entirely different effect. Or if we switched it to difference, it would give you almost an inverted look, which is tight, which would look crazy for music videos. Now I want to show you how to, use it on music videos as well. So here I got a couple music video clips, and if you're like me, what I like to do with my music videos when I'm editing them is I have like a separate like letterbox image. So if I turn this off right here, I'm gonna switch my my background player to white, and this is something that you're gonna want to do as well, because when we get to the mats, you're not gonna be able to see them unless you switch your background preference to white. So go into preferences and make sure your player background up here and the playback is set to white. So when I edit my music videos, I have an entirely different image that goes over top of my entire music videos. My letterbox is basically this black bars up and down at the top and bottom. So when you're creating your music videos, you're not gonna wanna drop your film burn over top of this layer because it's gonna look corny. So let me just show you what I mean. So if I play that through right there, I mean, this actually does look kind of cool depending on what look you're going for. But I think it just looks more cohesive when you drop your film burn under the layer. So you can see right there, we have the effect, but we still have our black bars on the top and bottom. And I feel like that's what looks the best personally. Like I said, this is all creative. Feel free to experiment and do whatever you want to do. But for me, I always have my effects and my visual, light leaks and all that sort of stuff like that under my letterbox, because I want my boxes, my black boxes on the top and bottom to stay black. So with music videos, it's basically the exact same thing. Choose the one you want, and then, go ahead and do whatever blend mode you think works best. I think that the difference one tends to look amazing on music videos. I love the way the difference one looks. It's just a cool, transition between certain clips, and that looks dope to me. Like, that's, if I was using it, I would use it that way. But like I said, you can use screen if you're, editing more of a softer music video that doesn't require the inverted look. And this doesn't look bad either. Like, this is fine as well. Like, that's cool too. Like, I think that looks cool too. So go through and experiment and do what you want to do with that. Next thing I want to show you guys is how to do the mats. So find your mats and import those into the program. And like I said, if you're on Final Cut and your background player is set to black, when you try to go preview your mats, you're not going to see anything. Everything is going to look black. So you have to go in your preferences and turn on your background player to either checkerboard or white, so you can kind of preview them and see what they look like. Now the mats are cool. I just want to show you guys how to format these for certain posts that you might be doing. So I'm going to use this one for example. And basically all you really need to do is just drop this over top of whatever video clips you want to have inside the mats. And you can see that this is two different boxes. So you can either keep this one clip and expand it over the, both of the boxes, or you can use two different clips. I want to show you guys how you can use two different clips though. All right, so if you're trying to do two different clips, basically you need to stack the two clips that you want to use for the mats. All right, so I got my two clips stacked on top of each other right here. And from here, I'm just going to format this first clip to fit into this left box. So I'm going to go over here to the transform tool, and I'm just going to move our X over just so we can get that perfectly to where we want it at. And then from there, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to crop, and I'm going to crop off the left part. So it's actually the right part, my bad. Go to the right, and then we're going to crop off the right. And then we basically just move that until it gets behind this black bar in the middle so we don't see it. And then from there, with the clip that you have on the bottom, all you have to really do is adjust your X-axis on that as well to get that to the spot where you want it. And then you got two clips in each one of these boxes, and it's super simple to do like that. and that looks really cool. Now, another thing that I want to show you as well is if you want to, say you're using this mat over a sequence of a long clip, a long span. Say you want this to be 12 seconds long. Well, you can see that the mat is only like around 4 seconds long. So if you want to have it longer, basically what you need to do is duplicate it. So you can either do that by doing Command C and then hitting Command V, and that'll paste it. Or what you can do is you can hold down the Option key on Mac, drag, select it and drag, and then it'll automatically duplicate it. And then basically you just continue to do that for however long you want it to be. Say you want it to be 20 seconds long, right? You can do it that way. And then to clean up your timeline, what you can do is you can select all the mats that you just duplicated, right click, and then you can do a new compound clip. So you can do whatever, you can name it 1 just to keep it super simple. And then now all of your mats are in one long clip. And then if you want to make this longer, all you need to do is duplicate this long clip right here over to the right, and then you have an even longer mat clip. All right, so it's super simple, nothing too complex. I want to show you guys how to do this one more time with another mat though, just so you can kind of get the gist of how this works. All right, so you have super simple mats like these ones right here, where it's just one box. This is super simple to do. With one box, basically all you need to do is just adjust your x-axis and your transform, and to kind of get the clip inside the size that you need it. Super easy to do, nothing over the top, nothing too hard to do. You basically just move your clip over until it fits in this perfectly. And one thing that you can do to give this more of a vintage vibe to fit the mat that's on top of it is you can just drop in an aged film onto that clip. And what I like to do is I like to bring the color adjustment down, because I don't want the color adjustment to be like, super brown. Like I don't really like this super brown thing. So if you want to black and white it, basically what you can do is you can go all the way to -1. That'll take it to black and white, or you can just drop it down to 0, and then 0 will bring it closer to where it already was. So I don't really like the scratches in here. I like to boost up the hairs a little bit and the dust, and then from there you can also adjust the grain. But if we play that through like that, you can see it has the vintage vibe to it now. It fits inside of this frame. It has that vintage feel to it. So just use the age film effect in Final Cut Pro 10, and it'll give you that vibe for it. Now, another thing I want to show you as well is, for some people, you're going to be inside of a regular 4K timeline, right? So let's just go to a 3840 by 2160, and I'm gonna just make a quick timeline real quick. So if you're in a regular timeline, right? Let me just grab some clips real quick, drop these in. If you're in a regular timeline, this is what you're gonna see, right? I'm gonna just scale this clip up so it'll be normal. Switch that to fill. This is what you'll see, right? It'll just be a regular 3840 by 2160 timeline. So when you go to use a mat and you want to drop one of these cool mats into your program, into your timeline, you can see that it's not gonna fit right. You can see right here, if I stay hovered over it, it's messed up on the top and bottom. So what you can do to easily fix this is, all you have to do is go up to your scale, and we're just gonna adjust the Y scale and just boost the Y scale up until it fits into it perfectly. And then you can see it works perfectly fine. So you can either do that, or you can just adjust the entire scale. I don't really like to adjust the entire scale because it messes these frames up, like the size of these frames. So you can just scale up the Y till it hits that border right there on the side, and then everything's fine. It looks exactly the same. So if you use a 3840 by 2160 timeline, that's an easy way to fix the mats, because when you drop them in, they're gonna look like this. You're gonna be like, what? Why does this look this way? But a really quick, easy fix for this is just to adjust your Y scale. So just scale your Y up like that, and then from there you can see it works perfectly fine. Or if you say you like the square look, right, and you don't want to mess up the squares, you could just scale it up until it fits in, and then you have your perfect square still in there. So that's an easy fix for the people who are going to just be using regular 4K. Just scale it up until it fits in there, and then you got what you need. All right, so I'm going to take you back to my Cinema 4K timeline, because I just had everything set up in there how I wanted it. The next thing I want to show you guys is how to use some of the other ones. So let me go back to the mats. Let's go to the mats. I want to show you guys how to format for this one right here, because this one is a little bit more on the difficult side. So switch this back to 0, my x-axis. So the first thing you want to do with this one is basically just scale your clip to how you want it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale my clip down like that, just so it hits until it hits the edges. I'm going to bring my Y down just so we can get the peak of this building in there. And then I'm just going to go down to my crop and then adjust my frame for that crop so it fits in there perfectly. Then from there, we just need to bring in our next clip that we're going to do. And you got to make sure you're stacking these clips too. So make sure you stack the clips on top of each other. So for this one, I'm going to format this one for the top frame. Put that one like right there. I think that looks good. And then I'm going to basically just crop off my bottom until it fits perfectly in that one. And then I'm going to find the next clip that I want to use, which is, let's use this one. Stack that one on top of that like that. And then from there, scale this one down, bring it down so it fits in the frame where I want it. And then I'm just going to crop off the top until it fits in the box. Then when I play this through, you can see we have our frame set up for our 3 different clips. And it's really just as simple as that. Super simple to do. Say you want to transition from a mat to just a regular sequence of clips, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that. So when you're using this and you say you got done using your mat, right? And you want to transition back into something like this. What you can do now is you can pair this mat with the film burn. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. So if we go back to our film burns, we can just choose one of the ones that we already chose with our markers already set up, and then we can set our marker point right to the end of that transition. So you can pair up these with multiple things. If you want to use multiple film burns, you can do that too. And using multiple film burns will give you a unique look as well, because it's going to be blended different colors and different styles and different textures and stuff like that. So what I'm gonna do now is I got my film burn over top right at the end of this mat. Switch my blend mode over the screen, and you can see this is gonna help this transition perfectly back into a regular scene. Because when you're using these, you're gonna use them in unison in certain programs. In certain projects with regular size clips. So we got our quick mat off right there. We want to transition back into a regular clip. Boom, we got it. Super simple. And I'm gonna show you another example of this as well, just so you kind of get the picture of how this is, gonna look for certain projects that you're gonna be doing. So play that back through, boom, right back into it. All right, so let's say we wanna put a mat on top of this clip right here. All right, so let's go back to our mats. I want to find the square one. I just want the square in the middle. All right, boom, got it right there. And I'm gonna format this clip under it so it fits in the square a little bit better. So what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna scale it down so it fits in there. Adjust my X on it a little bit. Perfect. All right, boom. So now what I want to do is I want to go back to my film burns, and then I want to drop a film burn on here to get us out of this frame, this mat into back into a full size clip. So I'm gonna just bring that down, adjust that, change my blend mode over the screen. Now let's play this through like it would be like an actual project that we were in. Okay, boom, we got our mat in. Boom, film burn back into another clip. Okay, then we want to go back to our mat. Got our mat right there. And what I'm gonna do to actually make this transition a little bit better is I'm gonna bring in another burn, and I'm gonna put that burn at the beginning of it so it comes in clean, right? So let's find another one of our film burns. Find a good spot for a transition. Boom, that right there is bright. Set our marker, bring this in, and we want this right on the edge of where our mat comes in. Size it down. Let's switch this blend mode over the screen real quick. Then if we play that back through, boom, back into it. All right, back out of it. It looks so seamless and so smooth that way. So like I said, you can use these in unison with other things. If you want to use multiple film burns to get certain colors and certain different effects on it, you can do that. It's just all about using all of these things together and making them work and making it make sense for the project that you're going to be using. So that's basically the tutorial on using the Cinema 4K mats. I want to show you guys really quick how to set up a 5x4 timeline and use this for something like Instagram as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just start a new timeline, and I'm going to name this IG tutorial for the sake of this video. And I'm going to do custom. Now the custom resolution for 5x4 timeline and the size of these mats is 876 by 1080p. All right, so hit OK. And then now you can see we got the perfect size for our mats or whatever. All right, now everything that I just told you is going to apply with you formatting the different clips and all that stuff to work perfectly inside of these frames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring in a clip and I'm going to just size it up to fill the frame, because this is what you would be doing if you were making a 5x4 for Instagram or something like that. All right, so I basically just scale this up. Now it's time to bring in our mats. So go to your 4x5 mats, and if you scrub over them, you know, we got a bunch of different examples of mats and stuff that we can do here. I'm gonna bring in the square one, and I'm gonna just duplicate this over, so we got, you know, a longer mat right there, and then bring this into the front of the timeline, and that's basically it. Now you got your mats and your sized up for Instagram, and you basically just put your clips under that, and it's as simple as that. The exact same process, the exact same thing. Now what you can do to, you know, obviously make this fit a little bit better is adjust your clip. So your clip doesn't need to be scaled all the way up if it's going to be in a little square. So if I scale that down, now I have more coverage and I have more frame width and more of my video clip inside of the frame. And it's really just as simple as that. If you want to bring in another one, I can show you guys a little bit of what it looks like to, you know, duplicate and do the stack thing as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this mat right here, put this on top, and now we're just gonna format these two clips to fit into both of these. So for my first one, oh no, I'm on the wrong clip. For my first one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that kind of in the center, scale that up a little bit, and then, you know, go down to our crop off the right side, and we got our left one perfectly. Now it's time to do our right one. So now we need to adjust and make our right clip fit. So scale that up a little bit, and then boom. We play that through. Now we have both of our clips playing at the same time for Instagram and formatted for a 5x4 or 4x5 timeline. So that's it. That's how you use the film mats. That's how you use the film burns. Feel free to reach out to me if you need any additional help. But like I said, the magic in this pack is really combining and using multiple elements of it to transition to and from you know, shots with the mats on them and shots without the mats. So if you're doing a music video, the magic is going to be, you know, switching up the blend mode that fits perfectly with the tempo or the song that you're going to be doing. But make sure, you know, if you're using them, cut them down to size so they fit perfectly within your transition or how you're using a film burn. And don't feel, you know, don't feel like you can't get creative with it, because you can change the color of the film burn to match perfectly with your clip. And you can also change the speed of the film burn as well. So you want the film burn to go faster or slower. All you have to really do is adjust the speed of the clip. So that's the simple breakdown and how you use the film burns and the film mats in Final Cut Pro 10. Now let's hop over into Premiere, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do the exact same thing. All right. So here we are in not Final Cut. What am I talking about? Here we are in Adobe Premiere Pro, and I'm gonna show you guys how to use the film pack in Final Cut. I keep on saying Final Cut in Premiere Pro. Now what I want to show you in this tutorial is I want to show you how to best use the film burns. Also want to show you how to use the Cinema 4K mats and also the 4x5 mats, and a couple of ways that you can customize these and make them your own thing. All right, now in my timeline I have set up right now, I have a music video set up because I want to show you some of the best ways to use this for music videos. And then I also have like some lifestyle clips from a YouTube project that I did. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing I want to show you guys is on the music video side of things, because I have this right in front of me. Now, when I create music videos personally, what I do is I have like, I I use like a letterbox image, which is basically a PNG image. So a letterbox is just the black bars on the top and bottom. And if you make music videos, you probably do this as well. When I use things like film burns on my projects, I like to put my film burns under the letterbox. That way you don't have the effect of the film burn going on over top of the letterbox. And there's nothing wrong with this. You do this however you like. If you enjoy it to look this way, you can do it that way. I just don't like it. Like, I like my bars to stay black, and then it's not, confusing or it's not confusing to the person who's viewing it. All right. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. Now, first thing I want to show you guys is the film burns. Go ahead and import those into Adobe Premiere Pro. And then, you can scrub through them right here and check out the previews. One thing that I like to do is I like to, find the one that I want to use. And then I like to just scrub through and find the brightest part of the film burn, because that's the part that's going to look the best as a transition. When it's the brightest, it diverts the eye and you don't see the clip under it transitioning. So right here, this is a really bright part of the clip. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop a marker right there on that point. That way, when I go to import this into the timeline, you can see the markers already there, and I can just snap it right into where two clips are transitioning from each other. Right, so right there, we can see already, like if I put that right there, I know that when I play this through, it's going to transition through perfect and it's going to look good. So once you have the film burn into the timeline where you want it, just go ahead and click on it. We're going to go to the effects control for it. And, you can double click and it'll take you to the effects control. We're going to switch to blend mode to screen. Now, screen is the simplest one you can do. Screen basically is just going to keep the light from it in and all the speckles and all the grain. And if I play that through, you can see that looks good. Right? But it's a bunch of other different, blend modes that you can experiment with to kind of best suit and figure out and find the best look that you're going for your transition. And I'm gonna click through them just so you can see. The ones that I tend to do are screen, color dodge, gives you an entirely different effect. You can see that. And then the other ones I really like are difference. Difference I really enjoy for music videos, but just because it goes like that inverted look. And I think that looks super dope for music videos. So I really only do screen, color dodge, and difference, but feel free to experiment with other ones. So if I play this through, you can see that looks super cool. That transition right there is fire, right? But it's up to you to you go through and adjust it and figure out what's best for you. Now, one quick thing that I want to show you, like I said, I like to put it under the letterbox. You can put it over. I don't really like for my black bars to. I don't like this. That's me personally, but I just wanted to show you how you can do that. Now, one other thing that I want to show you as well is show you how you can kind of customize this and make it into your own thing to perfectly suit and fit the video that you're working on. So one thing we can do is we can change the color of the film burn. So go up to the color tab up top. This will take us to our color workspace and make sure we are on our film burn. And we can just go into our color wheels and we can just adjust our highlight color to whatever color that makes the most sense to the project that we're doing. Now, if the highlights doesn't work for that, another thing we can do is go up to our base correction up here at the top. We can adjust our temperature to, whatever color we need. Like you can see right there, that gives us a totally different effect. Or we can just completely desaturate it. Say we want to go full on white. That looks cool too. So, it's a bunch of different things and ways that you can, make it into your own thing, right? So yeah, like I said, mess around with the midtones and the highlights. I don't really like to adjust the shadows just because the shadows are what keeps it, it keeps it cohesive, right? So if I go in and I adjust the shadows, you can see it changes the entire color, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you wanted to go for blue, honestly doesn't look bad here. Blue actually looks really cool now that I look at it. So, go through and adjust it and make it into your own thing. But those are just a couple little ways that you can adjust it and make it your own. You can also use multiple film burns as well. So if I go to my film burns, I could say I want to drop 2 film burns on it, and I wanted one to be screen and I wanted one to be, I wanted one to be different. So you could do that as well. Like, if I switch this one to screen, you can see now we have 2 film burns on. and it gives us a crazy effect. So like I said, you can combine these things. That's what the magic's going to be, adjusting these and making them fit perfectly for whatever project you're doing. If your project is primarily orange, you might want to adjust your highlight color over to orange more, or change your midtones to purple, or change your temperature. Those are things that you can do. So that's the gist of film burns. It's a bunch of different ones on here. Feel free to drop these on. Like I said, I like to just scrub through and find the brightest part, just so I know, okay, this is going to be a good transitioning point. So right there is a bright part. I'm gonna just drop a marker in, and then when I go to drop this into my timeline, it's gonna make it a lot easier for me, because I know right here is where it's gonna be. And I like to chop off the access too. Like I don't need my film burn to go for 5 seconds. I just like to use mine personally for transitions. You can use it however you want, but that's just how I like to do it. Set that difference, and then we got a transition right there. Like I don't want mine to go for that long. So what I would do is exactly after those clips transition, I'm gonna just chop it off, and I think that looks cool right there. Feel free to do it however you want to do. It's all creative freedom. That looks cool. All right, so that's the gist of the film burns. A bunch of different ones. Just drop them on, change your blend mode, and you're good to go. Now, the timeline that I'm working on right now is Cinema 4K. I want to show you guys what you would potentially need to do if you were to use the mattes in a timeline that wasn't Cinema 4K. All right, so let's go to our Cinema 4K mattes, and I'm just gonna drop one onto I'm just gonna drop one of these onto lifestyle clips over here. And if we drop that in right there, right over top, you can see it already fits perfectly. Like it's already good. But I want to show you what would happen if we were on a 4K timeline. All right, so I'm gonna make a quick timeline really quick. And I'm gonna just copy these clips for the sake of it. Copy, let's do, hold up really quick. Where the freak is my, oh, there we go, my bad. My bad. I'm gonna just make a timeline really quick out of this music video, because this is a 3840 by 2160 timeline. And when I paste these in, it's already gonna scale up, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off, I'm gonna do scale to frame size. And if I scale the frame size, you can see it has this black on the top and bottom. And that's exactly what's gonna happen when we use one of the mattes. So let me just go find the matte that I just used on the other clip so you can see what happens. Okay, so it fits in there because what it's doing is it's automatically scaling it up. But for certain, for certain mattes, that isn't gonna work perfectly, because if I scale this down, you can see, if I scale this to frame size, you can see that this has a black bar over here on this side. And what Premiere is essentially doing is, by automatically scaling it up, it's cutting this black bar off on this right side. You can see the entire clip. You're not supposed to see that. So if you want to get your entire frame in your shot, your entire matte in the 3840 timeline, what you can do is, right click it and scale it to frame size. And then this is gonna happen. You're gonna see this on the top and bottom. What you can do is you can go up here to your scale and your effects control, and we're gonna click off uniform scale because we don't want that. And then from here, what we can do is we can just scale the height. And what that does is it keeps what's on the left and right, and it just allows us to scale up and keep basically the entire frame. So if you are on, if you're on a 4K timeline, like a regular 3840 timeline, this is how you can, keep the entire frame if you wanted to keep the entire frame. Like this one right here doesn't look bad. It doesn't matter if it scales up or not. But say you wanted to keep the entire width and you like it that way, all you would need to do is just turn off your uniform scale and just scale the height. And the height will make it fit perfectly. So that's the 4K demonstration. I'm gonna take you back to the regular one. All right, so this is our 3840. This is our Cinema 4K timeline, my bad. And now I wanna show you exactly how to use the mattes. So, I'm gonna start off with the simple one. This is the simplest one right here. And one thing you're gonna notice when you drop this in is that it's not long. Say you wanted this to be the length of like 20, 40 seconds. Well, all you really need to do is just copy and paste it or duplicate it over, right? So you can do this by hitting Command C and then Command V, and then that'll paste it in. But an easier way to do this is just hold down Option key, select, and then drag, and then it'll basically duplicate it over. And And you could just continue to duplicate it for however long you want. And then to clean this up, all you would really need to do is right click on all of the ones that you duplicated, and then you can nest them. And then you can name this matte nest, right? And then it looks a lot better on your timeline. It looks a lot more cohesive, and it doesn't look like a bunch of different individual clips. And then from here, you can just duplicate this, and then it's a lot easier than having to duplicate it 20, 30 times, right? So that's how you would extend it. Now I want to show you how to format the clip under it. So to do this, all you need to do is click on the clip that's under it, and then just adjust the position. Frame it up exactly how you want this to be. You know, if you need to scale it up, you know, adjust the position. Just adjust the position so it looks right inside of the frame. And it's really just as simple as that. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how to format, my bad, I don't know why that's like that. I want to show you how to format some of the more complex frames, the complex mats. So I'm gonna do something like maybe this one. I'm gonna drop this one on. So this is one right here that you can see it has two different frames for two different clips. Now you could keep it this way if you want. If you want to just stretch one clip over those two frames, that looks cool in itself as well. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's really meant to use multiple clips. So basically, to get the multiple clips in that you want, you got to duplicate them. Not duplicate them. You got to stack them on top of each other. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move these up. Right, we'll move these up, and then I want to use these two clips. Right, these two clips inside of this one frame. So I'm gonna click on this top one and I'm just gonna format it to fit in this left box right here. So I'm gonna adjust the position over here to the left, get it perfectly to where I want it at. That looks good to me. And then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to click on this square right here for right under the opacity to create a polygon mask. And then from here, it's basically you just masking it up to fit inside this box. Super simple. And that looks good right there. Just make sure the edge is in between this little black bar right here in the middle, so it doesn't spill off into this frame. If we do it over too far, you can see it goes over into that other frame, which is exactly what we don't want. And then from there, all you have to do is adjust the bottom clip to fit in this frame how you want it. So you can adjust the position, you can adjust the scale if you wanted to scale it up a little bit more, bring it down. And then now, if I play this through now, you can see that these two clips fit in here perfectly. Boom, both of our clips are in there inside of our frame. Everything looks good. Super simple to do. Now the next thing I want to show you how to do is I want to show you how to transition out of using a mat into, just like a regular like lifestyle timeline, because this is how you're going to use it some of the time. Sometimes you're just going to want like maybe two clips to pop up in a mat, and then you're going to want to transition back into clips like these. So to do this, all you really need to do is use the film burns. This is where the magic is going to happen, combining multiple elements of the entire pack to fit your project. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the brightest spot of one of these this film burn right here. Boom, that's bright right there. I'm gonna set my marker point and I'm gonna bring this in. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this transition point right at the end of this. Move that down. Then I'm gonna change my blend mode to screen on this. And then now if I play this through, you can see we got a cool transition from our mat back into our regular clip. I'm gonna drop my resolution down because this is lagging because I'm doing all this stuff on my computer. But you can see now you got a cool transition between using the mat and not using the mat. And I'm gonna scale this down because I don't need this super long. We just need a transition. We don't need it to go super long. Boom. And that looks cool. Like, we got a cool transition out back into our clips. And if we want to, come into this smooth, we can use a film burn right at the beginning as well. So go through. This is a super bright point. I'm going to drop a marker right there. Drop this into our timeline. Get our marker right there on the edge. Scale that down so it's smaller. Then we're going to switch our blend mode over to screen. Boom. All right, now it comes in. Then we're going to go out. It's really just as simple as that. All right, now next thing I want to do is I want to show you guys how to use some of the other mats that you might be, wanting to use. And this is the exact same process. It's nothing different here. I'm not going to show you anything different, but it's just other examples that I guess I can show you, things that you might want to do. So this is a more complex mat right here. And in order for you to make this mat work, you need to get as many clips as you need to fit inside these boxes. So right now we got 2 because we set up our last mask for the other we set up our last clip for the other mask. My bad. I'm just rambling. So basically now we need to do is we need to get enough clips to fit inside of this. So I'm gonna stack up 4 clips on top of each other, and then we're just gonna go through. Well, actually, it's 3. It's only 3. My bad. I'm gonna stack up 3 clips, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to format it. So let's just format this first clip for this right box. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scale this down a little bit, move my position over to the right, and then I'm just gonna mask it off now. So click on that box under opacity, and then it's really just up to you to mask that off exactly how you need it to be. So we got our first clip formatted for this right clip. Now it's time to format our clip under that, which is this one. So what I'm gonna do for this one is I'm gonna scale this one down, and I'm gonna adjust the position, move this up a bit like that. And then once we got it to where we want it to be, now we just click this little box, adjust our mask so that fits perfectly in there. And then now all we need to do is format this bottom clip down here. So for this bottom clip, I'm gonna scale this one down, adjust the position. I really just want the peak of this building. So you see that going by. Just looks really cool. And then we got that in there. And then from here, I just need to adjust the mask. I just need to adjust the mask for this. Let's go through, get this mask adjusted. And the shape of this one isn't gonna matter because we already have clips on top of it that are, formatted for that. So if I play this through, we can see we have all of these clips formatted into this one mask. And this one right here, it stopped because this clip isn't long enough. So that's why it looks that way. But if I duplicate it over, you can see that this is exactly what we wanted. So if I play that through again, we can see it. All of our clips are formatted in here. And then from here, what we can do is cut the mask off, and then we can transition back into our regular project. Just play this through so y'all can see it. Boom. This is gonna lag a little bit just because doing all of this stuff. Boom, play that through. Then we transition back into our regular project. So that's how you use the film mats, the Cinema 4K ones, and also how you use the film burns. I want to show you guys really quick how to use the 4x5 film mats so you can format your projects for stuff like Instagram. So to do this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just make a new timeline out of one of these music videos, drag, drop that on to create a new sequence. And then from here, I'm gonna go up to the top to my sequence, and I'm gonna go to my sequence settings. And the dimensions for 4x5 and the size that these 4x5 mats are at is 876 by 1080. Hit OK. And we got the perfect frame size. All right, so formatting these mats for this is no different than what I just showed you. But I'm gonna give you a really quick example and show you how to do this really quick. So let's go to our bin where our 4x5 mats are, and let's just choose one of these. I'm gonna drop this one in, and what I'm gonna do is duplicate this over so it goes a little bit longer, duplicate that over so it goes a little bit longer, and then you can see we got our mats right there. All right, now the next thing we need to do is bring in whatever clips that we're gonna be using. I'm gonna go back to my timeline, I'm gonna go back to this timeline. I'm just gonna copy some of these lifestyle clips just to kind of format and put these in there. So copy these, go back into our 4x5 timeline. And I'm just going to paste these in. And then from here, it's basically you just adjusting these clips so they fit perfectly into the map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the scale, bring the scale way down, and do the same thing for this clip. Bring the scale way down, adjust my position, and then I'm going to do the same for this one right here. Drop the scale way down on this. And then if I play this through, format it perfectly for Instagram. And, you can adjust this and use some of the other film burns to transition in and out and do all the other stuff like that. But that's the gist of it. Formatting these mats for the Instagram posts is no different than formatting these mats for Cinema 4K or 4K posts. So that's the tutorial on the film burns and the film mats and the film pack. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll make sure to answer any question that you have. Just make sure to email me. But yeah, man, that's it. Like I said, if you have any other questions, just shoot me an email. But I'm out, y'all. Peace, man. Enjoy the pack.